Hi guys, the name is Mark, and another further video and clarification to all this nonsense is this. I'm going to espouse something, and then I'm going to ask you, what are you going to do about it now that you totally know what's going on? And there's no excuses, there's no margin for error left here, okay? And it says, who can apply for an Ontario birth certificate? It says the person. Now, when you were born, were you a person? There were no signatures on any documents anywhere of any sort with your signature, or even on this birth certificate, the whole 9 yards. So how could you have been a person? Obviously, you couldn't be a person. That's just a name on a piece of paper. But then you apply, and it says, who can apply? And it says the person. So why would you rock up and say that you're the person? Now, we've established words like apply, applicant, subject, certificates, right, assurities. This is Black's Law 8, and this is page 747, and it says, claim and delivery. What happens is, people rock up, and it says, who can apply? And they're saying, the person. Well, so when they're applying, they're saying that they're now the person, right? I can't keep it any more simpler than that. And it says, fees and processing times. If you are applying, again, you're lying. Look at the words, lying right there. L-Y-I-N-G for an Ontario birth certificate to sue ports, all about the ports, Revenue Canada, another port, right? Democracy, right? Look at the words democracy, and CRA's in there to support an application, again with the lies, for further identification. So you didn't know who you were, all of a sudden you needed ID to know who you were as a passport. It's all about the ports, people. Derivers, licenses, it's all about the lies, people, and the cents, and they'll take your money, and then it says payment can be made by da-da-da-da-da. So these people, when you're using their services, are paying for it. But anyhow, that's another talk show, and then it says short form, long form, all that stuff, rush service. So effectively, if you're paying to have this, well, you're now rocking up, you're agreeing to be this person, and that makes you an applicant because you can't lie afterwards, and you're stating that you're the person. And Black's Law here, it says claim and delivery. So obviously, you've applied, you've asked to have one of these sent to you in the mail, and that's why it's called claim and delivery. You're claiming it, and they're delivering it, and then you're claiming it. So then when you receive this makes you the bondholder of the birth certificate, right? So now, claim and delivery, a claim for recovery of specific personal property. I'd say this is the person right here. It says the person, so that's personal, okay? And wrongfully taken or detained. Wrongfully taken, let's see this. Why would you rock up and apply and wrongfully take this person? It says the person. Well, how, you were never a person, so why are you rocking up and saying that you're the person now to this? Well, that's fraud. And they say then you're creating a legal identity. Well, obviously you're doing something illegal in their world, because they're stating here that you're claiming and deliver. So claim and delivery, a claim for the recovery of specific personal property. We've established there's the person, right? And then it says personal property wrongfully taken or detained. So you've applied for this to say that you're the person, when how could you be a person to begin with? But now you're the person because you've even signed up for this and applied, right? And the whole thing. And if you are applying, L-Y-I-N-G, da-da-da-da-da, to sue port, well, obviously they will sue you. It says here, government issued, government I sue, or I sued, or is sued, it doesn't matter. Obviously they've liened all this, and that's why they're called alienable, hence aliens, right? And so now we're going to read the rest of this. And it says, this claim derives from the common law action of replevin, right? Sometimes written claim and delivery. So you've claimed it, you've applied for it, paid for it, you've claimed it, and they delivered it. That now thus makes you the bondholder of this certificate, and the bondholder is the one who pays the debt. You are now the debt holder because you've agreed to hold this bond, and when you go to court, the first thing the judge is looking for, which is the subject matter of all the legislation we've established in prior videos, is the subject matter, and that subject matter is the person. It's just that simple, people. So if you rock up and apply to have one of these delivered in the mail, I'd say that makes you a person who is the subject of the birth certificate. We've established as tabled that subjects are hence slaves, servants, servants, etc., defendants. I could go on for days with this, people, but you know, it's starting to bore me. So right there, they're telling you, claim and delivery, once again, a claim for recovery of specific personal property. So you rock up, you've detained this because you've applied for this, you're now holding that in your hands, that birth certificate and all their bullshit, and you've detained that property, you're detaining their property, you shouldn't even be holding on to it. So now that you know that effectively you're using somebody else's property and that that's illegal, because that's what it's saying here, and they will come and use a policy enforcer, police, Paul C, to reclaim this this property back again. And then we're going to come into, I think it's 749 here, and this whole mess, it says, claim of liberty. A petition to the Crown filed to the Court of Exchequer, so dealing with checks. There's the number right there. There's the check number, seeking the Attorney General's confirmation of liberties, lie, BR, and ties. And it even ties, T-I-E-S. Could they spell it out any clearer for you people? That's why when I see T-Y, it's T-I-E-S. It's lie, BR, ties. R stands for overhead, T stands for title, I stands for I or intent, E stands for estate, addy, claim of ownership. A claim of ownership, the possession of a piece of property with the intention of claiming it in hostility to the true owner. So they're saying, fuck you, this is ours. How does that make you feel? Right? And then you're rocking up and you're saying, no, that's not yours. We're going to claim that, we're going to apply and pay a fee to say that this person is, that we're the person. Who can apply? The person. Are you a person? So now that you know you're not a person, and now that you know you're a person who's applied for this, and you're an applicant, you can't lie, well, what are you going to do? You're going to rock into court? So now that you know this whole system is fraud and that you're using somebody else's property, and we've established in suretyship that you've agreed to pay the debt which is in the hands of another, so why are you using their debt-based system, which this is legal tender, hence Canadian bank issued note, right? And so please, people, you know, and then it says claim of right, 39.1 of the CCC, right? Claim of right. A criminal plea, usually to a theft charge. So of course they're making a claim of right. You came along, you agreed to agree to apply and state that you were the person, which is theft. So how does that make you feel now? Now you're even in their legal world of creating legal identities, you're operating illegally, and it says here who to establish a legal identity. God never asked you to establish this legal identity. And now you're rocking up, and you're so they're claiming their property back, and it says here, by a defendant asserting that the property was taken under the honest mistake, but mistaken belief that the defendant had a superior right to the property. You rocked up, you applied thinking that you were the person. You can't be a person. You agreed to be a person who is the subject, and now effectively, well, I'm sorry people, but there you go. You're thinking that you have the right, and they're making the claim of right because this was their property, and they even told you so here. They even claimed it here, and then they claimed it on the birth certificate. So that makes them the bondholder. So why would you rock up and apply to become a person who is now going to receive this in the mail, open it up, and hold that bond in your hands and go, geez, I wonder what this paper is all about? That makes you a slave, and you're born into slavery right there. That's basically claim and delivery, and we're just going to come back up to that again. So CCC 39.1, they've certified the fact that it's a claim of right, and they are entitled to their property because this is their property, not yours. There's the QSUP numbers, the whole 9 yards, and this is their bank account because they borrowed numbers on this bank account number, and they agreed to pay the debt, and then you rock up claiming that, oh, I'm sorry, but I didn't realize that I had mistaken that identity to be that person. You gotta be kidding me, people. So I'm going to leave it at that. Now that you know you're a participant in the fraud, well, what are you going to do about it? Because if you continue, right? Well, I'm sorry, but whatever you're going to get coming to you, well, you've clearly asked for it by applying to agree to be somebody else's property. Whoa, people, that's just downright theft. I can't make it any clearer than that. So effectively, anybody who's holding these and those birth certificates, that makes you a theft, and that makes you even a criminal rhyme and all in their world because you are, and you've even stated that you're their person, which is fraud on your part. Why would you rock up and take a person that was never yours? So it says it all right there, and once again, people, Claim a right, a criminal plea. So obviously, see rhyme and all, you're a plea, usually to a theft charge. So you've been charged for theft by a defendant asserting that the property was taken under the honest but mistaken belief that the defendant had a superior right to the property. So you thought that you had a superior right and rocked up and took this over when you didn't, and clearly they tell you that in claim of right. Then it says claim of liberty, a petition to the Crown filed in the Court of Exchequer seeking the Attorney General's confirmation of liberties to pay that debt. And they've been libertied. This is their Liber numbers. And so then, and back again, claim and delivery. You rocked up and you claimed a person that was never yours, which is fraud and theft and even illegal in their legal world. And then it says here, and you claimed it, and you asked them to deliver it to you, and they did. It says claim and delivery, a claim for the recovery of specific personal property. Well, these are on bank numbers, the back of those birth certificates, and there's a number there, and that's the person, the personal property right there. Couldn't make it more personal. And then it says property wrongfully taken or detained. So you've applied and wrongfully taken this and applied for this. They sent it to you in the mail, and now it's in your possession, and you're the detainee of this, and you're holding their birth certificate, which is the bond, hence the age of the bond. The bond age makes you a bondsman, and if you hold the bond, you pay for the debt. And now, if you don't hold that bond, well, they pay for the debt, and let them pay for the debt. They're even telling you here, don't come along claiming our property. What are you doing, right? And it says this claim derives. So once again, a claim for the recovery of specific personal property wrongfully taken. You rocked up, you took it, and taken or detained, as well as for any damages, age of the damned, caused by the taking or detention. And what do they do afterwards? You take their stuff and they'll say, well, that was criminal, and they'll detain you and throw you in detention. So you can see where I'm going with this, people, because you will be bound by the handcuffs of their system, CYST, just like this, but behind your back, and you'll be escorted to basically a prison, a prize son. So I'm going to leave it at that. Now that you know you've stolen their identity, man, you rocked up and you've mistakenly stole their identity, and they come back when they arrest you and claim their property back and say, sorry, but that's ours. They're just passing the hot potato on you, and you should have never taken it to begin with. So now that you know effectively you're operating with fraudulent ID, are you guys going to give it back, or are you going to continue to operate in the fraud? And I don't care who you are. If you have one of these bonds and you're a bond servant, and you've signed up and rocked up and agreed to make a claim and mistake somebody else's property, pro per well, you have to have rocks in your head. Okay, I hope this video finds everybody well. I send everybody green lights, and much love and respect always. Cheers. Namaste. Peace. Bye.